Hello everyone and welcome back to Making Things with String. My name is Kate and this is my third Flosstube Plus video where I talk all about things that I'm cross-stitching and knitting and crocheting. Welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, welcome to the channel if this is your first time here. I want to start off this video with just a huge thank you to everybody who has been watching and subscribing to my channel. I already have 70 subscribers, which is amazing to me. I'm not here necessarily to count subs or likes or anything like that, but it does mean a lot to me to feel like people are listening and paying attention to what I'm saying. And the community here on Flosstube is so kind and supportive and interactive, and so it's been really fun talking about my crafty things with people who know and care about those things as much as I do. I really love reading and responding to the comments that people have been making on the videos. I don't get a lot of comments, but I really do enjoy and appreciate the ones that I get. So I just wanted to give some shout outs to my friends Jill and Rachel, who are IRL friends of mine who have been commenting. Thank you so much for interacting with me here. I also want to give a shout out to Jerry and Patty, who I know only from your comments, but I really appreciate you making those comments. And I also want to shout out Michelle, who's the Giddy Stitcher. So Michelle has her own YouTube channel where she posts content, crafty content, and I really love your videos, Michelle, and so it's really cool to see you here. Michelle is nerdy like me, and so yeah, just been really enjoying this whole process a lot. So thank you to everybody. In today's video, I'm going to have some cross-stitch content where I'll update you on my whips and a new start that I've made. And I've got some knitting content. I've got a couple finishes and a new start as well. So I'm going to start splitting this up into cross-stitch and knitting in case there are people who only care about one or the other. Yeah, and I'm going to start with cross-stitch. So let's get to that. So the first cross-stitch work in progress that I have worked on since my last video is my Needs No Paint piece. So this is a Heaven and Earth Designs piece. The artist is Jill Clare, and I'm hopefully showing you a picture of what that finished piece will look like, or what the art piece by Jill Clare looks like. So this is what Needs No Paint looked like last time you saw it, and this is what it looks like now. Try and get a good shot of it here, nice and close up. So yeah, I've done a whole lot of work down here, just marking my way down this page. I'm almost finished this page, and it's still really fun to work on, loving it a lot. And you can see I've got my first little needle minder on this piece right now. This is something I got from the Divination Stitch box, which I made a little unboxing video of if you want to go check that out and see what other kinds of stuff I got. But yeah, this is what Needs No Paint looks like. I love this piece. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep focusing on it as strongly as I have been for the rest of the month of September, because the other piece that I'm working on might take precedent over it for September, but really pleased with the progress that I'm making on this piece. It's so pretty. This piece I am stitching 2/1 in tent stitch, so only half stitches instead of full cross. And it is now 16% complete. So last time I showed it to you, it was at 12.9%, and now it's 16%. Yeah, love this piece. So I started a new cross-stitch piece, and the piece that I started was for Sampler September. So in my last video, I mentioned how there were 3 pieces that I wanted to start, and I asked what people thought I should start, and you know, the consensus seemed to be Ragnarok, and I purchased Ragnarok. Really excited about stitching it. I purchased a piece of fabric from Evertote, a Canadian supplier, and some Leo and Roxy Co. floss with Ragnarok in mind. So super excited, but I didn't do this until the very beginning of September. So the order from Evertote didn't arrive until a few days ago. And sadly, I made a huge rookie mistake. The fabric wasn't big enough to fit the Ragnarok piece on it. So thankfully I measured it before starting to stitch. But in the pattern, it kind of tells you based on what count you're using, how much fabric you're going to need for the piece. And my fabric measured about an inch short of the width of the piece. On top of that, you need like a couple or 3 inches on either end to make sure that you can frame it properly. So I considered doing it over 1 instead of over 2, and I'll show you what the difference there looked like in a minute. I'll show you in a minute. And so instead, it looked like this piece of fabric I wasn't going to be able to stitch Ragnarok on, and I really didn't want to just pick some other random fabric that fit because I really want this piece to be special. So I looked at my other options and noticed that the 2 Quaker Sisters sampler by Modern Folk Embroidery, those pieces are a lot smaller than Ragnarok, and they're thinner as well, like quite a bit thinner. So it turns out that both of those will fit on the fabric that I bought. So I decided to stitch one of those for Sampler September with the materials that I bought for Ragnarok. It's turning out great. I'm loving it. I was disappointed at first, but I have Ragnarok. I will stitch it at some point. And now I am stitching one of the 2 Quaker Sister samplers by Modern Folk Embroidery. So let's have a look at the fabric and the thread, and I'll show you my progress on the piece. So like I said, the fabric is from Leo and Roxy / Evertote, a Canadian supplier, and this is a 32 count. This is a 32 count linen. It's called Under the Shade. And I'm just going to give you a little peek of the fabric here before I show you my progress. But this is just so beautiful and moody. It's like a green with some deeper colors and some really beautiful speckles that you probably can't see very well. But here, let's give it a try. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. And yeah, it's like the fanciest fabric that I've stitched on probably. And I'm really, really loving it. Then my floss, I got 2 colors of floss because I wanted to stitch just in one color, but I didn't quite know, obviously since I was ordering online, which color would look best on the fabric. So I decided that I would try just between 2 colors and bought this first one. It is called Butterscotch, and then I've got Colonel Mustard as well. So I'll try and show them side by side so you can see that they're both sort of yellowy colors, but the Colonel Mustard is a little bit richer and the Butterscotch is a little bit lighter. So I figured that one of them would show up on the fabric really well. And I was right, they do. So I just want to show you really quickly before I show you my progress on the Quaker sampler. I don't know if you're even going to be able to see this, but I did a little test swatch of the Butterscotch. So the top row is 2/2, 5 stitches here, and the bottom is 1/1, 10 stitches. So I just really didn't like the look of the 1/1. I wanted to do it 2/2. I wanted to stitch 2/2 on this fabric. I just like the look of it better. So that's what kind of put the final nail on the coffin of starting Ragnarok on this piece. And I started the 2 Quaker Sister sampler. I'm doing the one that says, "For I am thine and thou art mine." And here is where I am so far. So you're going to see it'll go most of the length of this fabric, but the width is only going to be till about here. And yeah, that's where I am. And as you can see, I've decided to use both butterscotch and Colonel Mustard in this piece. So I'm just kind of winging it with respect to which parts of the pattern are which color. But I'm really loving this so far. And the floss is great, the fabric is great, and the pattern is really fun to stitch. So this is my Sampler September piece, and yeah, I'm gonna see how much of this I can get done in September. So I want to try and focus on it. Another interesting thing that I'm doing with this piece that I don't usually do is that I am stitching it in hand. So I'm not using a hoop or a Q-snap or a scroll or anything. I'm just holding the fabric like this and stitching on it. I still haven't really gotten the hang of doing the sewing method so that I don't have to put my hand underneath and then back over the fabric all the time, because that's just the way that I'm used to doing it. So I tried doing the sewing method for a few stitches, but I just wasn't liking it, so I switched back. But yeah, this is my little Sampler September sampler that I'm starting. I'm really enjoying this quite a lot as well. Oh, so this project I'm actually keeping in a project bag that I bought, also from Evertote. So not only do they sell fabric, floss, but they also sell project bags. And I'm going to show you this beautiful project bag. So here's the project bag I'm using for that piece. This project bag is called Loon Toss. This is the white background version. There's actually a blue background version as well. But it's really beautiful. And the pattern was made by an Indigenous artist. And when I purchased this, part of the proceeds of purchasing the bag was going to resident school survivors. And so I thought it was a great cause, and I think it's a beautiful, stunning project bag, and it's my first ever project bag. So yeah, I'm really glad to have this, and I think it's really beautiful. It also comes with a coordinating little notions pouch that I'm keeping my thread and my scissors in. And yeah, it's great. I'm loving it a lot. So beautiful. And obviously I'm a Evertote fangirl now because I've made 2 full orders from them recently. So love that. All right, we're gonna move on to knitting now. So the first thing I'm going to show you is my Soul Pour socks. So Soul Pour socks is a pattern from the Lane magazine that I recently purchased when I was in British Columbia. And I had just started with the first sock last time, but now you can see that I have finished not 1, but 2 Soul Pour socks. This one is blocked, this one is not. I wanted to get a look at the blocked sock as I was knitting the second one. But yeah, I'm done with these and really happy with how they turned out. Love this yarn, which is by Wool You Dare, a Nova Scotia yarn dyer. And yeah, I'm excited. I haven't tied the ends in, obviously. I need to block the other sock, and I would really love to get a pair of sock blockers, just because I feel that even this could be blocked a little bit more, but it looks okay now that I'm looking at it on here. So maybe I'll block the other sock the way that I blocked this one. When I first talked about this pattern, I mentioned the Fish Lips Kiss Afterthought Heel. So here's what that looks like. I'm still not sure how I feel about this heel. I like Afterthought heels, but this Fish Lips Kiss, the way the pattern was written, had me go down to just 4 stitches at the tip, and I feel like that might be a little bit too much for me. Like, I tried this sock on my foot, and this little bit was like puckering out at my heel. So I'm gonna see how they wear before I make a final decision. But if I did Fish Lips Kiss heel again and I don't like how it's working, I might just decrease down to 6 instead of 4 stitches. So yeah, my Sulper socks are done, and they're awesome and I love them. And those are living in my only knitting project bag, which I've talked about in previous episode. All right, so my next finish is a gift item for my niece, Elena. So Elena, if you are watching, or Elena's mom and dad, if you are watching and you don't want to be spoiled on this, you can skip forward to this time in the video to not be spoiled. But I have almost finished the Phelan Fox cowl that I was knitting for my niece, Elena. So here it is. It is absolutely adorable. The only thing left to do is the pattern has some wooden buttons down at the bottom of the hood here that I don't have yet, so I couldn't do that, but I will try this on and see if I can show you a bit what it might look like. So here's what it looks like on me. This is a little tight around the face, but remember that this is a child size that I've knit, so it should be like a little bit bigger and poofier when it's on my little niece Elena. This is how it looks. I love this little peak at the back. It's very cute, but also very warm, so I'm going to take it off now. So really pleased with this. It's so cute, and it knit up so quickly. So I just knit this out of some Bernat softy chunky yarn that I got at Michael's. So now I just need to knit the Dino cowl. The Phelan Fox cowl, by the way, was designed by Heidi May of Velvet Acorn Designs. So the last piece of knitting that I'm going to talk about today is a new start that I just cast on. I cast on this Florencia little short sleeve piece from my Lane magazine. It's a beautiful little short sleeve piece with a cute little eyelet repeat through the body. I am using some yarn that I bought last weekend. My husband Neil and I and our 2 boys went to Oak Island Resort with my parents to celebrate my mom's birthday, which was earlier this year, and also my birthday, which was on Monday. And so yeah, we just had this little getaway. We did a little boat tour of Oak Island, which you can't access right now due to COVID, but we did a little boat tour around the island. And we also hung around Mahone Bay a lot, which is right by Oak Island and the resort. And there was a yarn shop in Mahone Bay, so my mom and I went there. And this yarn shop is actually for sale, I believe. So if you're in the market for a yarn shop, the woman who owns it is retiring. The yarn shop is called Have a Yarn. And I bought 2 skeins of this Trailhead Yarns yarn. This one is the Appalachian Trail, and the colorway is Gold Rush. This is 65% cotton, 35% nylon, and it is fingering weight. So I love this color, which you may be noticing a bit of a theme since, these colors are very similar to that Leo and Roxy floss that I chose for my Sampler September Quaker sampler. But yeah, I thought I would make the Florencia short sleeve tee with this. So I wound up the first ball of this yarn and started knitting that tee. I have two little sleeveys. These are the sleeves, which you knit first in this pattern. And I have knit some of the body. So here's where I am on the body of this tee. It's a little scrunched up on my needles, but you can see that I've got a fair bit of progress made. Using my Knit Picks interchangeable needle set for the body here, and yeah, this is what it's looking like. I'm really excited to get this going. It's a nice easy repeat, just like the Soul Pour socks. Fairly easy to kind of see where you are and not get messed up, although I did mess up once on the last round that I knit, so I'm gonna have to go back and fix that, but I found the spot that I messed up. So yeah, so this is my Florencia tee, I'm calling it. So it's like a t-shirt, but short sleeve sweater. I don't know what the proper term is, but I love this. It's like, I can't wait to wear it. Can't wait to wear it. And I think it will go really well with my wardrobe because, like I said, I do love this sort of color. And so I've got a lot of stuff similar to it and stuff that matches with it. So it should be great to have. Looking forward to it. I did do a swatch to make sure that I was getting gauge, and I'm approximately on gauge for the size that I'm knitting. But whenever I knit a big garment like this, I always worry about it because I find that like I've never knit a piece that like really fits exactly the way that I imagined that it would. So hopefully this turns out well. So that is all that I have for today. That's all the progress that I've made in my crafting over the last few weeks. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening to me prattle on about my crafts. I really appreciate it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.